This story comes from an official report filed in London in 1819, then hidden in naval archives for over 100 years. It involves a ship that wasn't supposed to dock, a cargo that wasn't meant to be opened, and a logbook that simply ends with, "The man in the red coat was never on the manifest."
In March of 1819, a British brig named Hibernia docked unexpectedly at the port of Kinsale, Ireland, 2 days ahead of schedule and with its captain missing. The ship had departed from Lisbon carrying textiles, wine, and sealed government cargo bound for Liverpool. The voyage was standard, the sea calm. But when the crew arrived in Kinsale, they were agitated, silent, and reluctant to disembark. Customs officers boarded immediately. The first irregularity? The manifest. It listed 12 men, but 13 hammocks were hung below deck, 13 knives in the mess, 13 sets of boots. Only 12 men answered roll call. When questioned, the acting first mate, William Dare, claimed the 13th man was a courier, not crew, placed aboard last minute by a Navy official in Lisbon. No name given. No papers. The man, he said, wore a red officer's coat, but never spoke to the crew. He ate alone, slept in the aft cargo room, and 3 nights before they reached Kinsale, he was gone. The ship's captain, Charles Redford, was last seen going into that same cargo room the night before. According to Dare, Redford never came out. In the morning, the door was unlocked. No one inside. The courier's coat was folded on a crate, and the ship's sealed cargo? Still there, still locked. But one crate, the smallest, was moved 6 inches from where it had been bolted. Dare said he ordered it left untouched and kept the rest of the crew out of the room. They changed course for Kinsale, fearing some sickness or breach in naval secrecy. An inquiry began. The cargo was taken by uniformed men from Dublin. No public record of what was inside. The remaining 12 crew were detained for 11 days, then quietly released without charges. They were never paid for the voyage. 5 of them never sailed again. In 1903, a retired naval archivist named Howard Litchfield found an unfiled report in a private collection. It included sketches of the Hibernia, the incident transcript, and a page from the ship's log, likely copied before being seized. The final entry, believed written by Captain Redford himself, reads, "He said we wouldn't remember his name. I already don't." But the seal broke, and it wasn't empty. To this day, the Hibernia case is officially classified as an internal routing error. The ship itself was sold and renamed. But in naval tradition, there's an old superstition still whispered. If there are 13 bowls on the table, count the knives. In 1823, 4 years after the Hibernia incident was quietly sealed, a British Navy inquiry in Portsmouth reopened an old shipping ledger. It had been triggered by an anonymous letter, unsigned, no return address, mailed directly to the Office of Naval Movements. The letter contained only 2 lines. The same cargo is moving again, only now it's on a private flag. Attached was a list of names, among them William Dare. Dare, who had vanished after the Hibernia, was found working under a false name at a dockyard in Plymouth. He was brought in for questioning. The records from that interrogation, now partially declassified, survive in fragments. Here's what they reveal. After the Hibernia, Dare claimed he was paid off, not by the Navy, but by someone from the Admiralty in plain coat. They handed him a sealed envelope with £200 in banknotes and a single sentence typed on the inside. "If it opens again, you'll know what to do." He tried to disappear, changed names, worked in warehouses, took no voyages, told no one the full story. But in February 1823, a Norwegian schooner named Vargfjell docked in Plymouth for emergency repairs. The ship was small, undercrewed, and carried only general cargo: sugar, rope, iron fittings, except for one sealed crate, marked with a symbol Dare said he hadn't seen in 4 years, a circle with a single slash through it. No serial, no label, only a painted number. 3. Dare claimed he bribed his way aboard the ship as a temporary freight inspector to confirm the mark himself. He didn't ask permission, didn't wait for backup. He went below deck at night, alone. He found the crate in the rear hold, chained, braced, and unusually clean. No dust, no rat droppings, and the air inside the compartment smelled faintly of wine and salt. But what truly made his blood run cold was this: a small wooden bowl sitting on top of the crate. Not part of the cargo. Old, plain, chipped, but unmistakable. It was the same bowl he'd seen in Hibernia, the one from the courier's room, the one that was supposed to have been destroyed. Dare fled the ship that night. 2 days later, Vargfjell left port. It never arrived at its next destination. Reported lost somewhere between England and Norway. No wreckage, no survivors, no distress call. Only a floating lifebuoy found weeks later, with a single marking scratched into it. 3. Naval investigators wanted to discredit Dare, until they searched port archives and confirmed something shocking. The symbol, a circle with a slash, had appeared once before Hibernia in 1807 during a French vessel seizure. That crate had also vanished during transfer. The shipping officer who signed it in, Captain Redford, the same Redford who'd vanished on Hibernia, the same man whose name appeared again in a newly uncovered document from the Danish registry, a purchase form for a storage warehouse in Copenhagen, signed simply R. The final twist came from an unlikely source. A long-retired civilian customs official in Kinsale, Thomas E. Malloy, had kept private notes from the Hibernia investigation. One entry, dated March 1819, had been scratched out, but still readable under lamplight. The man in the red coat was seen disembarking at dawn. Alone, carrying nothing. No one questioned him. He nodded to me once. I didn't recognize his face. But I had the strangest thought. That I had just met someone I was supposed to forget.
In 1889, 66 years after the disappearance of the Hibernia, a man named Edward Lawton, senior clerk at the Royal Naval Records Office, submitted a personal request to review sealed cargo-related anomalies in the 19th century manifest logs. He was 42, respected, known for his memory, discipline, and quiet obsession with ships that disappeared clean. He received limited clearance and began reading. Hibernia, Vargfjell, a few others, all with 3 things in common: incomplete manifests, no survivors, cargo marked with a slashed circle. Within weeks, Lawton had assembled what he called the pattern, a collection of 17 incidents across 74 years involving ships from Britain, France, Spain, and Norway. Each ship had vanished, docked unexpectedly, or reappeared under strange circumstances. Each carried a sealed crate without declared contents. And in every known case, there was a 13th name missing. In late October 1889, Lawton visited a military warehouse outside Liverpool, looking for the Redford file, a box long believed lost. Instead,
he found a private register of customs seizures from 1806 to 1822. Buried in the back, without page number or title, he found an entry, Crate 3 received, no opener authorized, Redford present, bowl removed, left clean, return marked for Copenhagen. Final note, no echo heard this time. That same day, Lawton submitted a transfer request for Crate 3, claiming it had never been properly catalogued under Admiralty authority. He signed the request with his official title, Senior Manifest Integrity Officer. But Lawton wasn't an integrity officer. That position didn't exist. He had written it himself, and it was approved. The crate was sent to a disused military dry dock in Dover, where Lawton had quietly rented private access to an archive room below sea level. It arrived in early November, unmarked, no seal, just a wooden box, 74 centimeters wide, slightly warm to the touch.
According to dock logs, Lawton entered the room alone at 5:42 p.m. He never came out. The watchman checked twice. The lights were on. Door locked from inside. At 6:13 p.m., the lights went off. The door was opened by force at 6:40. Inside, the crate unopened, one chair, a single oil lantern still warm, Lawton's coat on the floor, and on the desk, a handwritten note, unsigned, in calm, perfect script. If this is the last record, let it be clear. There is no man in the crate. The contents are memory. The room was sealed. The crate disappeared again 6 days later. No inquiry was made, no charges filed. Edward Lawton was recorded as missing without explanation. His files were boxed and placed in a locked section of the archives, known internally as Room 13. In 1936, a naval historian writing a book on lost British ships of the 1800s received an unmarked package at his home in Bristol. Inside, a copy of Lawton's assembled timeline, a black and white photo of a crate marked 3, and a small folded note. He never meant to come aboard. He only arrives when the manifest lies. The author never published that chapter, but before his death, he said one thing to a colleague over tea. There's always a missing name. It's not about who was there. It's about who was remembered.